Concepts of total revenue, average revenue, and marginal revenue. Total revenue: if a firm sells 100 units for rupees 10 each, what is the amount which it realizes? It realizes rupees 1000, which is nothing but the total revenue for the firm. Thus, we may state that total revenue or the total expenditure incurred by the purchasers of the firm's product refers to the amount of money which a firm realizes by selling certain units of a commodity. Symbolically, total revenue may be expressed as TR is equal to price into quantity, where TR is total revenue, P is price of commodity sold, Q is quantity of commodity sold. This may be represented by the following diagrams. In figure A, when the price of the product is rupees 30, the quantity sold is rupees 40 units. The total revenue is P into Q is equal to 1200. Panel B shows the total revenue curve of a competitive firm having a perfectly elastic demand curve. Since the firm can sell any quantity at market determined prices, the TR curve is linear and starts from the origin. Average revenue. Average revenue is the revenue earned per unit of output. It is nothing but price of one unit of output, because price is always per unit of a commodity. For this reason, average revenue curve is also the first demand curve, the firm's demand curve. Symbolically, average revenue is equal to total revenue upon quantity, where AR is average revenue, TR is the total revenue, Q is the quantity of commodity sold, or AR is equal to price into quantity upon quantity, or AR is equal to P. If, for example, a firm realizes total revenue of rupees 1000 by the sales of 100 units, it implies that the average revenue is rupees 10, or the firm has sold the commodity at a price of rupees 10 per unit. Marginal revenue is the change in total revenue resulting from the sale of an additional unit of a commodity. Thus, if a seller realizes rupees 1000 while selling 100 units and rupees 1200 while selling 101 units, we say that the marginal revenue is rupees 200. We can say that MR is the rate of change in total revenue resulting from the sale of an additional unit of output. MR is equal to change in total revenue upon change in quantity, where MR is the marginal revenue, TR is total revenue, Q is the quantity of commodities sold, and triangle stands for a small change. For 1 unit in output, marginal revenue of N is equal to total revenue of N minus total revenue of N minus 1, where TR is total revenue when sales are at the rates of N units per unit, and TRN minus 1 is total revenue when sales are at the rate of N minus 1 unit per period. In order to understand the above concept clearly, look at table 2. In column 1, the number of units sold of commodity X is given. Column 2 shows the total revenue faced by selling different units. Column 3 shows average revenue, which is nothing but price per unit. Column 4 shows marginal revenue, which is addition to the total revenue by the sale of an additional unit of output. Units, total revenue, average revenue, and marginal revenue. Table 2. Note that the total revenue is maximum when 5 units of X are sold. It stays constant for 1 or more unit and then begins to fall. Average revenue keeps on falling, showing inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. It represents demand function of X to the firm. Marginal revenue keeps on falling, and after becoming zero, it becomes negative. Also note that total revenue at any particular level of output is the sum of marginal revenue till that level of output, which can be expressed as TR is equal to summation of MR. The question which arises is, why is the marginal revenue due to third unit rupees 6 not equal to price of rupees 8 at which the third unit is sold? The answer is that when price is reduced for selling an additional unit, the two units which could be sold for rupees 9 before will have to be sold at the reduced price of rupees 8 per unit. The total loss on previous 2 units due to price fall will be equal to rupees 2. Thus, for any falling average revenues or price schedule, marginal revenue is always less than the price. In the case of constant average revenues or price schedule, the marginal revenue is equal to average revenue or uniform price. If total revenue stands for to, if TR stands for total revenue and Q stands for output, marginal revenue can be expressed as MR is equal to DTR upon DQ. DTR upon DQ indicates the slope of the total revenue curve. When the demand curve of the firm is normal downward sloping one, there is a well defined relationship between average revenue and marginal revenue and total revenue. This can be shown by the following figures presenting total revenue TR, average revenue AR, and marginal revenue MR curves. The average revenue curve in panel B is sloping downward, depicting the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. MR curves lies below AR curve, showing that marginal revenue declines more rapidly than average revenue. Total revenue increases as long as marginal revenue is positive and declines has a negative slope where marginal revenue is negative. Total revenue curve initially increases at a diminishing rate due to diminishing marginal value and reaches maximum, and then it falls. When marginal revenue becomes zero, the total revenue is maximum and the slope of TR is zero. It may be noted that in all forms of imperfect competition, the average revenue curve of an individual firm slopes downward, as in these market forms. When a firm increases the price of its products, its quantity demanded decreases, and vice versa under perfect competition. However, since the firm are price takers, the average revenue or price curve or demand curve is perfectly elastic. Perfectly elastic average revenue curve means that an individual firm has a constant average revenue or price. When price remains constant, marginal revenue will be equal to average revenue, and thus AR curve and MR curve will coincide and will be horizontal curve as shown in figure 3 below. Relationship between average revenue, AR, MR, TR, and price elasticity of demand. It is to be noted that marginal revenue, average revenue, and price elasticity of demand are uniquely related to one another through the formula where marginal revenue is equal to average revenue into E minus 1 upon E, where E is equal to price elasticity of demand. Thus, if E is equal to 1, marginal revenue is equal to average revenue into 1 minus 1 upon 1, which is equal to 0. And if E is greater than 1, marginal revenue will be positive, and if E is less than 1, marginal revenue will be negative. In a straight line downward falling demand curve, we know that the coefficient of price elasticity at the middle point is equal to 1. It follows that the marginal revenue corresponding to the middle point of the demand curve or AR curve will be 0 on the upper portion of the demand curve where the elasticity is more than 1. Marginal revenue will be positive, and on the lower portion of demand curve where elasticity is less than 1, marginal revenue will be negative. This can be shown in diagram. A relationship between average revenue, marginal revenue, total revenue, and price elasticity of demand shown in figure 4. In figure 4, DD is the AR average revenue of demand curve at point C. Elasticity is equal to 1 corresponding to C on the AR curve. The marginal revenue is 0. Thus, marginal revenue is touching x-axis at N corresponding to C on the AR curve at a greater quantity than ON. The elasticity of the AR curve is less than 1 and marginal revenue is negative. Negative marginal revenue means MR curve goes below the x-axis to the fourth quadrant. Marginal revenue being negative means that total revenue will diminish if a quantity greater than ON is sold. total revenue will be rising up to ON output. Since up to this the marginal revenue remains positive, it follows that total revenue will be maximum where elasticity is equal to 1. Thus TR is shown to be at its highest level at ON level of output corresponding to the point C on AR curve. Beyond ON level of output, the TR curve has a negative slope. Behavioral principle 1: a firm should not produce at all if its total variable costs are not met. It is a matter of common sense that a firm should produce only if it will do better by producing than by not producing. The firm always has the option of not producing at all. If a firm's total revenue are not enough to make good even the total variable cost, it is better for the firm to shut down. In other words, a competitive firm should shut down if the price is below average variable cost. In that case, it will minimize loss because when its total cost will be equal to fixed cost and it will have an operating loss equal to its fixed cost, the sunk fixed cost is irrelevant to the shutdown decision because fixed costs are already incurred. This means that the minimum average variable cost is equal to the shutdown price, the price at which the firm ceases production in the short run. Shutting down is temporary and does not necessarily mean going out of business. If price average revenue is greater than minimum average variable cost but less than minimum ATC, the firm covers its variable cost and some but not all of fixed cost. If price is equal to minimum ATC, the firm covers both fixed and variable cost and earn normal profits or zero economic profit. If price is greater than minimum average total cost, the firm not only covers its full cost but also earn a positive economic profit or supernormal profit. The firm will be making maximum profits by expanding output to the level where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. Principle 2: in other words, it will pay firm to go on producing additional units of output so long as the marginal revenue exceeds marginal cost. That is, additional units add more to revenue than to cost. At the point of equality between marginal revenue and marginal cost, it will earn maximum profits. The above principle can be better understood with the help of figure 5, which shows a set of hypothetical marginal revenues and marginal cost curves. The marginal revenue curve slopes downward and marginal cost curve slopes upward. They intersect each other at point E. MC is equal to MR, which correspond to output Q. Up to Q level of output, marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost. At output level Q, they are equal. The firm will be maximizing profits at E or at Q level of output. For all level of output less than Q, additional units of output add more to revenue than to cost as their MR is more than MC, and thus it will be profitable for the firm to produce them. The firm will be foregoing profit equal to the area EFG if it stops at A. Similarly, profits will fall if a greater output than OQ is produced, as they will add more to cost than to revenues on the units from Qth to Bth. The firm will be incurring a loss equal to the area EHI. Figure 5: equilibrium of the firm, maximization of profits. To conclude, the firm will maximize profits at the point at which marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost.